Now we have the max and min key. So um, so we have been given this same pattern we had in the last video. So, but instead of us writing the same function, the function we wrote in the last video, we're going to be writing something similar. But now we are going to be using either the max key or the min key. So let's get started and see how it goes. So we have the, if we check under our function, you see we have the min key or uh, the max key. We have the min and the max key. So we can use it. We can use either of them, either of the two keys to write our function. So now the max key will return the maximum between two numbers. So if I put 0 and 1, it's going to return the maximum. So you see it's returning 1. The min key returns the uh, minimum between two numbers, just the way the max returns the maximum between two numbers. So how do we use this in our function to get the maximum of an array, the maximum item in an array? So let's write our function. What the first thing we're going to do is, what comes to mind is we are going to loop through this array and find the maximum at every instance of the loop. So we are going to find the maximum. So the first time we go through the array, we find the maximum between 3 and a particular value we've assigned. Then the next one is going to be like 1 and 3. Then the next one is going to be between 8 and 1, or 8, yeah, 8 and 1. Then the next one is going to be between 0 and 8. Then the last one is going to be between 2 and 8. So let's write the code and see, and then we can understand better. So the first thing I'm going to do is declare a variable a, which is called to, which I'm going to assign to the first element in the array. So you see that variable a now is 3. This is the first element in the array. So I'm going to loop through the array and then get every element in the array and compare them with a, and then assign a to the maximum of the two numbers. So for each variable b in input, all I'm going to just do is assign a equals, then this is where we're going to use our max, which is max between a and b. So you see, it didn't even allow us to finish writing the code. The code runs successfully. So let's view the code and see what's going on here. So unlike before that we were writing um, a greater than b, then assign, if a is greater than b, assigned the maximum to a, else. So we're using if else statement before, but now we are using the max function to get the maximum between the two numbers. Yeah, between the two items. This code is kind of short and very simple and straightforward. If you don't understand, you can leave a comment, and then I can leave a question in the comments. Then I can, try and answer you. So I hope you understand this. Let's move to the next puzzle. So let's continue. So this is odd. This is the title. So let's see what it's bringing out. So this is the pattern. Pattern detected. We have input 5, output 1. Input 7, output 1. Input 2, output 0. So what we are meant to do here is to find so what we are trying to do here is to find whether our input is odd or even number. That is why the title is this is odd. Our input is odd or even number. So how are we going to write a function that gives us that? What we can do is to find, we can use modulus. Is it modulus or module? In the normal programming language, whether JavaScript or Python. But here we don't have modulus as a key. So what we are going to do is to write a function, a logic that is going to print out 0 when we input 2, 7, 1 when we input 7. So let's just try and write the function, then we can explain the code. So at this point now, this is what we're trying to do. We have our input already. If we divide our input by 2, what will be the results? We can see 5 divided by 2 or divided by 2 is 2. What does that mean? That means instead of 2.5, like the normal result, this output only returns an integer. If you don't know what an integer is a numeric value without a decimal point. So that is what an integer is. So you see that our output is an integer. So 5 divided by 2 is 2 instead of 2.5. But because our output always returns an integer, that is why we're having a 2 here. This is our divide is returning an integer. So we can use this approach to write our logic. So if I do input divide by 2, which is 2, if I do input minus, that is a dot, input minus our input divided by 2 is going to give us 3. So input minus our input divided by 2 is going to give us 3. So that is 5 minus 2 is 3. Let's think again. How can we achieve this? If we look, we are giving 5, we return 1, we're giving 2, we return 0. That means we can do the input. If we get 2 first, at this point, input divided by 2, let's put it in a bracket so that we can know that they are together. Then times 2. Oh, it passed. So let's view the code. Let's see what's going on. You see, when we do input divided by 2, let's say 5 divided by 2 is going to give us 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. If we do that for 7, we are going to get 1 also, which is 7 divided by 2 is going to give us what? 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 7 minus 6 is 1. So let's do that for 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. You see, with this just simple line of code, we can output this modulus function. Isn't that interesting? I know it's sounding like a magic to you, but if you actually think about it logically, like a mathematician, you should be able to understand it. Even though you don't even know math very much, this is just basic arithmetic and it's straightforward. It may be hard to get at the first time, but doing it over and over again or trying to look at the code, it will look easier to you. I hope you understand it. If you have any question, please just leave it in the comments and I'll try my possible best to answer. Hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Thank you very much. Let's continue. We have the modulus key that we program.